Okay, so when I say McDonald's, what's the first thing that pops into your head? It's probably burgers, fries, maybe a drive-thru, right? But what if I told you that you're missing the single biggest financial secret about the company? There's something hiding in plain sight, and believe me, it has almost nothing to do with food.
So let me ask you straight up, what business is McDonald's really in? I know, it sounds like a simple question with a super obvious answer.
You're thinking about the Big Mac, Chicken McNuggets, all that stuff. And look, you're not wrong. But that's not the whole story. Not even close. The real engine that powers this global giant, the thing that actually makes them all their money, isn't what's sizzling on the grill. It's something way bigger and way more profitable.
This is what we call the Big Mac misconception. The real business isn't about selling burgers. It's about the land those burgers are sold on. And hey, this isn't just some wild theory I cooked up. The proof is sitting right there in their official annual report, the 10K.
All right, for our first piece of evidence, let's do what you always do. Follow the money. We're going to start by taking a peek at the company's balance sheet, which is basically just a list of everything they own.
Just look at that number. That's over $45 billion worth of property and equipment. And let's be super clear here. We're not talking about grills and ice cream machines. This is almost entirely land and the buildings sitting on it.
So, when you actually visualize what the company is made of, you see what they truly care about. I mean, the vast majority of their assets are tied up in real estate. It completely dwarfs everything else they own. This isn't some accident. This is the entire strategy.
So here's how their brilliant model works. McDonald's, the giant corporation, uses its insane amount of cash to buy up or lease the best possible real estate locations all over the world. They build the restaurant, and then they turn around and lease it to a franchisee. So if you want to own a McDonald's, you're not just buying a business. You're basically being forced to become a tenant of the McDonald's corporation.
Now for our second piece of evidence. Let's look at where the profits really come from. Because if they're a real estate company, the money should be coming from rent, not from burgers. And, well, spoiler alert, it does.
If you look at their own revenue numbers, you see this huge difference. Selling food at the stores they own themselves means lots of costs. Food, paying staff, so the profit margins are pretty low. But the money from their franchisees, that's almost all rent and royalties. It's a simple, high-margin stream of cash with basically zero operating costs for the main company.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The burger business is just bait. It's the engine that guarantees the franchisee can pay the rent on the truly valuable asset, that prime piece of real estate that McDonald's owns and controls.
But hold on, the model gets even more brilliant. For evidence number 3, let's look at how they actually get the money from their franchisees. It's not just a simple rent check. They've got this awesome double dip system. First, the franchisee has to pay them a royalty. That's a percentage of every single dollar they make in sales. But then, on top of that, they also have to pay a set minimum rent every month, no matter how the business is doing.
I mean, just think about how powerful that is. If the economy takes a hit and sales are slow, McDonald's is protected. They still collect that guaranteed rent. But if the franchisee is absolutely crushing it, maybe a new menu item is a huge success, McDonald's instantly gets a bigger cut from those sales royalties. It is literally the best of both worlds for them.
Okay, so for our final piece of evidence, let's talk about scale. Just how big a part of the McDonald's system is this landlord-tenant model? Yeah, it's not even close. McDonald's has intentionally franchised about 95% of its restaurants across the globe. What that means is the corporation itself is almost completely out of the messy, day-to-day business of actually flipping burgers.
And the advantages for them are just massive. The franchisees are the ones putting up all the money for the daily operations and all the kitchen equipment. That's incredibly efficient for McDonald's. Meanwhile, the corporation gets to hang on to the single most valuable asset in the whole equation, the land, which just quietly keeps growing in value on their books.
So, when you put all the evidence together, the conclusion is just impossible to ignore. McDonald's isn't a fast food company. It is a full-blown real estate empire.
Just let that sink in for a minute. The hamburgers are simply the financing tool. They are the thing that makes sure thousands and thousands of tenants all around the world can pay their rent to one of the biggest and most successful landlords on the entire planet.
So the next time you see a McDonald's, you're not just going to see a restaurant. You'll see a small but very, very profitable piece of a massive $45 billion global real estate empire. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other huge secrets are just sitting there, hiding in the financial reports of all these companies we think we know so well? It just goes to show you, sometimes the real story is right there in plain sight.
You just have to know where to look.